The College Access Evidence Matrix is a resource developed by REL Appalachia for college access providers and education leaders to find evidence on interventions that support student transitions to education beyond high school. The matrix uses information from the Institute of Education Sciences What-Works Clearinghouse as of July 1st, 2021 to identify programs that align with Every Student Succeeds Act or ESSA evidence standards. In this video, we will demonstrate how to use the matrix and navigate it in 3 ways: finding evidence of effectiveness for a specific intervention, finding evidence of effectiveness for a specific outcome, and finding the underlying research and the similarity of the samples and settings to your context. First, we will show you how to find evidence for an intervention. Suppose you are a college advisor looking for programs that can help students succeed in college. You have heard good things from colleagues about a college advising program called Bottom Line. Before looking into the program further, you want to know whether there is evidence from the WWC that Bottom Line is effective at improving college outcomes. The matrix is here to help. First, locate the intervention. When you first open the matrix, the intervention names are in alphabetical order, so you can scan down the rows until you find Bottom Line. You could also search for it by using Excel's Find feature. Typing Ctrl and F will bring up the search box where you can type in Bottom Line or another intervention name and hit Find Next. The search will look through the columns of intervention names and descriptions. Now you can focus on the row for Bottom Line. Each column represents a group of outcomes defined by the WWC that post-secondary transition programs may affect. The columns are organized by school level and the chronological progression of outcomes. Scanning across the columns shows first a middle school outcome, then several high school outcomes. These are followed by college outcomes ranging from access and enrollment to attainment. Now you can look for the cells in these columns in the row for Bottom Line. You see that Bottom Line meets the definition of ESSA Tier 1 evidence for the 2 outcome domains of college access and enrollment and college credit accumulation and persistence. The other 2 cells are blank, so you know that Bottom Line has not demonstrated Tier 1 or Tier 2 evidence according to the WWC for these outcomes. Please note, the matrix shows you the highest possible level of ESSA evidence based on the research. Later in this video, we will demonstrate how to determine whether the evidence applies to your context. Stay tuned. Next, we will show you how to find evidence for a specific outcome of interest. Suppose you are a college access program provider who works with urban high schools. You're interested in expanding the types of supports you offer to students, and you want to see what interventions have evidence of effectiveness for college enrollment. The matrix is here to help. First, you want to locate the column that describes the WWC outcome domain that is likely to contain the outcome you are interested in improving. To find programs with positive impacts on college enrollment, scan across the column headers until you reach the outcomes in college. Evidence for college enrollment will be in the column headed College Access and Enrollment. The names of the interventions are initially in alphabetical order, so you can scan down the rows to see the evidence level for each one. You will see 15 interventions with ESSA Tier 1 evidence and 3 interventions with ESSA Tier 2 evidence. The remaining rows are blank, so you know that the remaining interventions have not demonstrated Tier 1 or Tier 2 evidence for this particular outcome according to the WWC. Before exploring these interventions further, remember that the matrix presents the highest possible level of ESSA evidence for each intervention. You also need to determine whether the evidence applies to your context, which we discuss next. Now we will show you how to find information on whether the evidence reported in the table applies to your context. You've worked with the matrix and selected an intervention, Bottom Line, with ESSA Tier 1 evidence for an outcome you're interested in, college enrollment. We have noted previously that the matrix reports the highest possible level of evidence for each intervention according to the WWC. However, ESSA evidence also relies on how similar your sample and setting are to the samples and settings used in the research. ESSA Tier 1 evidence requires that your sample and the research sample are similar and that your setting and research setting are similar. ESSA Tier 2 evidence requires similarity on one or the other, either sample or setting. So, you need to learn more about the research behind the evidence, and the matrix is here to help. The columns to the right of the outcomes will link you to the What Works Clearinghouse reviews of the research. For bottom line, there is one study. Other interventions may have 2 or more studies, so you may need to take the following steps for each study. Clicking the link will take you to the What Works Clearinghouse review of the 2017 study by Barr and Castleman. The Review Details tab comes up first and highlights that this study has ESSA Tier 1 evidence. The Sample Characteristics tab provides some information about the study sample and setting. In this case, researchers conducted the study in urban areas of Massachusetts and New York, with a sample that was 70% female students, 1/3 Black students, and 32% Hispanic students. The Study Details tab can also provide helpful information, including the names of the cities where the researchers conducted the study and details about family income and first-generation status. You can use this information to determine how similar the research sample and settings are to your context. In this video, we showed you how to find evidence by intervention and outcome, and how to find information on the underlying research. You can find more information about the matrix and how it was developed on the Frequently Asked Questions and Procedures tabs. REL Appalachia also recorded a webinar introducing the College Access Evidence Matrix, which describes how college access providers and educational leaders can easily find proven interventions that align to ESSA evidence standards and can increase the likelihood that students successfully transition to post-secondary education and training. A link to the webinar materials and recording, as well as a link to the What Works Clearinghouse, can be found in the video description.